this over here. Awesome. Alright, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy Hardcore, and we're back today with some new updates this week on Action Taimanin. We've got ourselves the wonderful Race Queens outfits. Murasaki, Shizuru, and Maika now have their own alongside Aina as well. So it's a very exciting situation. We got them in the purple club because it's eggplant racing over here, baby. The best kind of stuff. So let's get started. It's a rerun event of, Sounds and Shadows and Shifting Woods. Gives one of the best supporters in the whole game. It's a blue supporter. Kuromachi Keito. Absolutely destructive piece of work right here. I mean, look at this. Range damage increase on snared enemies, and she also has a chance to snare for up to, I think, 6 seconds total for 4 random enemies. So on a one-on-one situation like VR, she's actually very helpful. And better yet, just for most content in the first place. Like Emily and any ranged character really gets a lot of use out of this, specifically even if they're in the protect section as well. I think one person who gets a really good benefit out of this is Sora herself. So we're gonna level that up. We're gonna go farm it ourselves and clear everything out so we can get a copy for Miss Sora herself. So let's get started over here with, well, not that one. We have Maika and her outfit, so we're gonna check that out. Alright, I'm gonna go to supporter. I mean, I know we have the sets function nowadays, but it's just it just ain't the same. I don't think the sets apply inside Time of VR in the first place, so it doesn't even matter. Which is a sad state of affairs, because it's really annoying to have to reassign everything. But let's take a look at the costume while we're here. The costume comes in 3 colors. Pretty nice stuff. It's supposed to be a light purple over here. A sort of yellow, white, and black design. And we also have the, I forget which color of company this is. It's supposed to be I think it's some sort of oil company. It's it's not Pennzoil, it's Quaker State or something. More or less, it's a pretty good color combination. Though my purple one, I just prefer that. It's a really nice dynamic color. Because all these sort of dark colors that, this is one of those costumes that have high reflective surfaces. And it's sort of washed out because it's supposed to be really bright. So they have a whole bunch of colors that are really light all over the costume in the first place. But since it's so light, it actually makes it have a matte look, so you can put dark colors like purple and it works out just as fine. You can even change your hairstyle and take off the glasses. I like to keep the glasses on though. It looks good. It's a good look for her. How you doing there, Raptor? How you been? We're just hanging out over here. It's a nice rainy Friday. Because we got some farming to do, that's for sure. Now, I would say Maika's one of the better farmers in the game, more or less due to the way that she plays. Since she has such high damage abilities and skills all over the place, you can just snipe from 20 million miles away. I mean, look at that. It's a persisting projectile. You just fire and forget with her. Oh, that's right. Pokemon did have their final episode of Ash as the main character. What a thing to realize. It's it's the end of an era, effectively. 36 seconds isn't bad. Wow, did they increase the hitbox on Pile Flare? That never hits behind her in the first place. See, I was thinking about starting the stream earlier today because it's oh wow, I'm going to put the tweet out at 4 or 5 o'clock because I'll have my pizza over there. Because I ordered a pizza from Pizza Hut. And when I ordered the pizza itself, it was like it was a pretty annoying situation to say the least, because I ordered it. I was like, okay, it's gonna show up here at like, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And it's like, I'm waiting. It's like, man, it's 6:45. I haven't seen this pizza. So I'm calling the place. I'm like, I've yet to have received a pizza. And they say like, oh, we haven't got the pizza at all. It's like, it says it's been delivered. But the thing is, I selected the contactless delivery option. And since I live in an apartment complex, they left the pizza out in front of the place. So that means they left it out there while it was in the rain. Which kind of pisses me off a little bit, My pizza's ruined. It didn't actually get ruined. They put it under the stair. They put it under the staircase in the first place, which is somewhat annoying. Because I went down to go check the mail and it was not there in the first place, and that was at like 6 o'clock. Like by the time I actually found the pizza downstairs, it was cold. The bag had the bag for the breadsticks had gotten wet, so it was all in all pretty rough situation for my food. Pizza was delicious though, even when it was cold. Though that may more or less be the fact that when I ordered my pizza, I was actually hungry. Man's gotta eat. Why do they always do this? Why do they always have the late spawns all over the place like this? Like, I killed that whole pack in in less than a second, but it takes 3 more seconds for that one Ogama to show up. Like, this is the sort of shit you would put Cheat Engine on for. Turn on the accelerator and just go to town on it. It's the most annoying stuff in the world. But while I was waiting for the movie, I was waiting for the pizza itself, I thought, you know what? The reason I was in the mood for a pizza today, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to go watch The Godfather, 1972. I have never seen the movie before, and I was like, it can't be that good. It's considered a classic, it's like the mobster movie everybody goes to. It's like, yes, what are you gonna do for on the day of my daughter's wedding? Please, I must listen. I must listen to all the requests that come out from this on such a day for my daughter. It's like, yeah, it's wonderful, but it's like it was legitimately pretty good. I was sitting there. The movie's 3 hours long, and it takes all 3 hours to do. I can see why that every time I found that movie on VHS at somewhere like Goodwill, it was 2 cassettes. And it takes up all the time it needs to. It's very, very good. I liked it a lot. I'm sure everybody's heard of that wonderful classic meme of, it's Peter Griffin and his family trapped in the panic room he made, and he says I didn't like The Godfather. It insists upon itself. I had never seen the movie until literally just about 20 minutes ago, so I was I don't understand what the hell they're talking about with that sort of thing. And the thing is, I had never been spoiled on the movie itself. The movie is 50 something years old now. It's 51. Yeah, it's 51 years old at this point, and it's I had no idea what happened. I mean, I imagine if I grew up somewhere in the 70s, the 80s or 90s, and I'm watching something like that, I would have been totally spoiled, and I would have already known all the twists and turns of the movie. But I mean, I watch movies like that all the time, so I kind of figured it's gonna follow the trope. It's that movie. It set the pace for everything else to come. It was really nice though getting to see a really, really young Al Pacino. I honestly find it hard to believe that man, this guy was in Scarface 9 years later. Like, this is the same guy who gives like an earth-shattering performance, like in very serious situations. Like, he can't help but love what he does. And then he's also the same guy who goes over there and does the Dunkachino bit for Adam Sandler. It just makes you wonder, like, are you okay, Al? Are you all right? You're not gonna have your, like, you're not in debt to your eyeballs because of this situation. That's what I find hard to believe. It's like, how are these prolific actors just like getting totally shafted? It's probably like an estate situation that keeps fucking it up for them or something. That's, for the most part, that's usually what happens, is like the estate fucks everything for like the actual person. Since they're getting up in age already, they're gonna be like, oh, my fortune's effectively ruined at that point. Because I don't think Al Pacino was no more than like 20-something when he did that movie. Because he's got to be at least like 70 now. Jack and Jill, I think, was also like in the mid 2000s, like 2009 or 2010. Because I remember seeing that movie on DVD at like somewhere after Thanksgiving. Like, everybody considers like Jack and Jill one of like the worst movies to be produced and made by like Adam Sandler, and it's like, I mean, people always say the litmus test for Adam Sandler in the first place is like, you know, Waterboy and Happy Madison. It's like, they're all right. I mean, after seeing both of those movies, it's like I laughed at Happy Madison, I laughed at Waterboy, but also it's like I'm not so much of a highbrow asshole that I need to like go. I didn't laugh at Jack and Jill. It just doesn't make sense to do anything like that. It just makes you wonder, like, why does everybody get so butthurt about like comedy movies like that? I mean, I can understand it though, because we don't really have a lot of direct comedy movies anymore. Like, nothing that's like, oh, it's a complete comedy, like Trading Spaces or something like that, or Coming to America. They're not specifically like comedies. They always have to be combined with something else. And that something else has to be like a romantic comedy situation, or a buddy cop comedy. It can never stand on its own. Because I guess obviously the concept with humor is like, you know, you subvert expectations, so it's gonna get a little raunchy, it's gonna get a little gross. Yet, we just can't seem to really get past that whole thing and make a nice comedy again. Because I was talking to someone the other day about Dane Cook. Because I thought Dane Cook was in the movie Waiting, and he wasn't in. Obviously, it's a young Ryan Reynolds. That's how I remembered it being. It's like young Ryan Reynolds and Still Waiting. However, the whole thing with like, then we remembered about Dane Cook, and Dane Cook is in this movie called Employee of the Month. He works at a Costco, and is like, you know, he's trying to become a cashier to go shag this other cashier lady, because the whole premise of the movie is summed up in like one sentence: is sorry guy, I only date, you know, it's like Dax Shepard is the asshole antagonist, so it's like, yeah, she only bangs the employee of the month, and obviously our villain is the employee of the month. So Dane Cook has to sit there and like get his shit together and become a better person, so he can get in good graces with the company and become an employee of the month to go shag Jessica Simpson. And I'm like, that very simple premise is like something we wouldn't see like pretty much nowadays. It would have to be like, that movie would more or less be like a romantic comedy. Because that's like a typical boner comedy for me. It's like, it reminds you of another movie called Sex Drive that came out in like the mid 2000s. It's a really, really shitty boner comedy movie where it's like, you know, it's bros going on a road trip. Oh man, it's like, and crazy shenanigans ensue with sexy ladies. It's fun and all, but it's like, it's also a really shitty movie. It's like really, really bad Porky's. Well, it almost feels like Revenge of the Nerds, like the Revenge of the Nerds series, but it goes like instead of just like, you know, at school or like they're doing that, they're going on a road trip across America. It was probably supposed to be the answer to like Euro Trip. Euro Trip. That's a movie that came out, I think, like in the early 2000s. And there's like the unrated edition that's like, oh yeah, it's got all the raunchy shit we couldn't show in the theater. I mean, I understand it was even a different time back in the early 2000s, but it's still like, Euro Trip as a movie, it was fine. It wasn't anything like, you know, earth-shattering or anything like that, but it's still a comedy. It was still like a nice, you know, comedy adventure. In fact, the only person I can really say who does like, you know, a straight comedy movie is like those Medea movies. Like Medea goes to prison. It's like that's not 3 weddings and a funeral. It's like Medea's big happy family. It's whatever it is like that. Tyler Perry actually strictly doing like comedy bits like that, and also trying to tell like some sort of heartfelt story inside. It's like, you know, that's fine. I genuinely appreciate that. Everybody always say like, you know, oh, he's a charlatan of sorts. It's like he's making caricatures of like black people. I'm like, okay. I think dude's just making a comedy, and he's like, here's the thing though. It's like, it's not like he's not making money with this. The demographic he's pandering to is watching his movies. Like, it's not like they're not watching the movies. He's a multimillionaire because of it. He understands his audience, and he's like, you know, he does it. He's like, you know, it's like when you get done fucking your hoe and you get the do-rag and wipe your dick off with it. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's like, yeah, it's me. Like, I'm not gonna get that. I wear do-rag. It's like, that's the sort of shit you'd find in those movies, and it's great. It's a comedy. I want to laugh, not have to be like beaten over the head with a moral story. As of late, though, there's a person I've been talking to, and like, they had discovered the show Xavier Renegade Angel. And Xavier Renegade Angel is a show from like 2007 and 2008, which is like, it's a show that really is what is it? It's meta humor on the subject of religion, on various aspects of religion and societal aspects in America, but it's told in a way that looks like a fucking 2020s internet humor. But the thing is, it came out like almost 15 years before that. It's like, it feels very ahead of its time. Like, it's a legitimately good show, because like the writing is so strong, because it feels like a Freddy Got Fingered situation, because the Freddy Got Fingered is a movie by Tom Green, and he just sits there and it's like, it's bit after bit of like gross out humor, weird shit happening. You don't have any time to take in the world around you to see what just happened. You're sitting there, your mouth agape, you're shocked at what's going on. And that's what Tom Green really goes for when he does his content. When he does his man on the street bits, when he does everything like that. That's Tom Green. That's how he works. And it's my favorite thing about him. Xavier Renegade Angel does the same thing, but it takes it in like, they did this in like this 3D animation program. It's like 3ds Maya or something. And it looks, man, it looked bad in 2007. It really did. Like, when I was watching it in 2007, it looked bad, and it's like, and I watch it now, it still looks bad. But that writing is so goddamn strong. It's like Atlas holding up the world. I love it so much. It honestly impresses me that they were able to make something like that. Because I think the same people made Wonder Shosen. The group, it's like, not group, it's like the company's like, the production company's PFR. And they've done several shows on like for Adult Swim. They did stuff for MTV. They did a lot of stuff, and it's like all really, really weird out there stuff, which I really like. I love me some absurdist humor and also like weird situations. That's why probably one of my favorite movies is Freddy Got Fingered, because it's that. It is 100% complete absurdism. It's completely absurd. You have zero time to react to anything that's happening around you, and you just have to enjoy the ride. That's what you're there for. You sit there and enjoy the experience. Because I think I've seen Freddy Got Fingered like 3 or 4 times now, and I still find new stuff inside it, and it's still funny. Like, whenever I go show a movie to people, it's like when someone, like, sometimes people will go back and look up, you know, like, bits from comedians. It's like, they'll sometimes stumble upon, you know, Tom Green. And Tom Green is like, you know, he's from like the early 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, he had his own show and everything like that, the Tom Green Show. And he does all that sort of stuff. He was doing like crazy, wacky, you know, sort of like internet-style humor in the early 90s. And sort of shaped the way that we look at things. Not the way we look at things, but sort of like internet comedy, I guess. If you could even call it that. Fucking jump into the fire, I swear to God, it's not that hard. God, I wish I had the 4th skill slot so I could put something else there. She absolutely needs this. But Tom Green is a really fantastic guy because it feels really weird to like see like Tom Green do like he'll do like obviously his man on the street bits, you know, when you watch the Tom Green Show, but then you will watch something like, I remember watching this one video where Tom Green is like, he shows his life, and I think it's somewhere, he lives in Canada right now, and he does and he's doing stuff there. So we show like his parents visited his house, and they're just, it's Tom Green being like the most normal person ever. Like, you never can believe like this guy is like, you know, the most insane man ever on screen, and yet he's out here having like dinner with his parents. Is like, well, how's the house doing? He's like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm growing some vegetables. I got a lemon tree outside. You like lemons, Dad? you could start seeing him like slipping in and out of like, you know, the Tom Green we all know bits. I'm like, is he trying to do? Is this gonna be a bit? But it's like, no, he rolls it back in, and his dad is just like him too. So I can see like, yeah, like I can see where he gets, you know, a little bit from his parents. It's pretty good. That I can enjoy a lot. Let's see, we have Ruthless. I mean, Tom Green's whole thing is supposed to be like, he's just effectively really, really annoying. He's like the movie, I forget, it's like John Leguizamo in the movie The Pest. The Pest is effectively like, I think The Pest is before Tom Green, or at least around that time. They're both annoying pricks who just like effectively annoy everybody to the fullest extent of their ability. Tom Green does that for, I think, like 3 seasons. The Pest lasts 88 minutes. The Pest is also not a very good movie. Oh my god. I should probably actually use my skills every once in a while so I can clear things up. But enough about Tom Green. I could talk about that for a while. There's as of late, they released more information regarding Maika when she gets released. I think she releases like April 3rd or 4th. It's in the next 2 weeks, so that's going to be an interesting one for sure. I know I'll have something made for that. I'm excited for that though. She looks pretty cool from what we can see in the little concept videos, and I like that a lot. She's not exactly like, well, I don't know. I've been waiting like 3 years ever since she like... Maika is one of the first supporters ever to get in the game. She's actually in the base game release. So the whole thing about her is, you know, she's got a really fat ass. That's like what everybody loves about her, and also the fact that she's got robot parts. So that's like, wow, I love that about her. She's so cool. That I can appreciate. I like that a lot. But she's also, you know, like... They recently started introducing the concept of shared weapons and shared items with people. So they now made a unique weapon for Saika, which is her bladed legs, because she fights specifically only with kicking, like like Sanji from One Piece. That's like the most pertinent example I can think of. That makes sense because it does. It's like I mean, she does exactly the same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if like I go into like another One Piece game and I find out like they have almost one-to-one copied animations for Sanji's movements. And of course, like her big finishing, like I think ultimate attack is like a big, gigantic exploding kick that she does at the enemy. I think what you could say it's like, oh my god, was that a Kamen Rider reference? Was that a Tokusatsu reference? Was that a mecha reference? Was that something else? It's like, I always find that kind of dumb because it's, you know, when they do the kick like that, it's always a big turnaround moment for the protagonist. And that's what it does for Saika. It's just like she's going to give a big kick. It's going to do okay damage. It's going to do okay damage, or it's going to take like a shitload of sit-up to get off. I really hope I always have to say with bated breath, I hope they're not terrible. Because they can do it. They absolutely 100% have the capability of making something terrible. I mean, they made Release Noah one of the most difficult and annoying characters to use. I still have no idea what they were thinking with that character. Even then, Noah got better. Noah got better, but it took her way too long to get better in the first place. Which is not good. And then yesterday they showed the costume for Saika. That she's got like the American Indian costume. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Laura has that same sort of style of costume too. So who knows? Maybe Laura would get into the game. And honestly, I don't mind that. I would like 100%. I would like another OC character, and I like Laura's design a lot. So because like Laura's got a very strong Native American motif going on. I like that. I like the way their costumes and like their tribal motif looks all the time. That's good. Let's make that a permanent addition. Same thing with racist queens. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love calling the costumes like the racism costumes. Because they're racist, you know, because they're fans of racing. How can you say no? Man, it's been raining for like 3 days here, which means like when I go to work later on, all the road's gonna be washed out when I go there. It wouldn't surprise me like one bit. That I go drive there tomorrow and I gotta drive over this massive fucking hole in the road because it all washed away. I do wonder if they're gonna give Maika. We're playing as Maika right now. I wonder if they're gonna give Saika like a speed Taimanin art, or they're gonna give her a power Taimanin art. Because she seems like the type who doesn't probably need a power boost. She needs more speed. Which makes me wonder, are they going to like do a thing where every character is going to have healing now? Because let's see, Maika was released about, you know, I think you are, Raptor. I think the alert didn't go out or whatever. I mean, I effectively can just talk to myself for a while. It's not a problem for me. Because I've yet to been on for like a few weeks, so I've got some things to talk about. Come on, Maika. Come on, Maika, crit. Yeah, it would probably also help for her critting if I actually put on some Magatamas that did that. Or use my skills. I was like, wow, usually people show up about this time anyways. It's 10 o'clock. I did notice though that in the trailer for Saika, you actually get to see the whole thing of where they gave Saika's model these insanely enormous thighs and legs. So when she like does a kick and you can see it fold, like does a nice gluteal fold on her body, and it makes this enormous shadow on the side of it. So it makes it looks kind of bad right there. That means it's not like the best deformation. Like the models aren't designed to have that kind of stretching and kicking. Which makes me wonder, it's like doesn't Asuka have this sort of thing too? It's like I don't know if she does or not. So it's like it's not that they don't have the technology, but more or less just maybe a thing of like they got lazy or whatever. I don't know. I don't design these things. It's not my department. So the hitbox isn't that big after all. I don't know. I just watched a skill movie for for Saika, and it makes me think like, I don't know. It's understandable to have people get hyped for it in a situation like that, but like honestly, I don't care. I hate watching those things because they almost always my perception of what the skill does and how it's going to react with other skills is completely wrong most of the time. I mean, I can predict certain things about that and get it right, but it's also like Saika's already going to be one of those characters who she's probably going to have like two modifiers. What is it? Like during your regular attack string, you hold the attack button down and it will activate the skill. And I honestly hate those type of skills because it's a really good way to activate it when you don't need it. Or the threshold for activation is so low that you're going to use it anyways. It's because some characters have low and high activations, which is like weird. I don't know, maybe that's like a controller thing for me, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of problems with those sort of things anymore. It just feels weird. She's gonna have one of those. She's probably gonna have something along the lines of what's Asuka? Rending Storm. Rending Storm for Asuka is like the big kick. So Saika is obviously going to have that, but it's a skill. It's either that or it's gonna be I didn't see like a finisher bubble pop up. Who knows? She may have one, and it's like it will actually make a difference. She better have healing though. Like that's what I was going to mention earlier. They have healing for characters. They have healing for various characters now. Because I think Aina got a field heal. Anrose had has actually 3 different kinds of healing. Sora has an enormously powerful heal. Who came after that? Nagi has this really good area heal. Like, they really just, they are not gonna... I really feel like they're not gonna give no characters without healing anymore. Because Maika does not have healing at all. You either win with damage or you don't win at all. Because she cannot have an attrition whatsoever. You need to have overwhelming force with Maika. That's how you win with her. Which is why I don't like taking her to VR, because she dies to bleeding rather than dying to direct damage. Well, I mean, you also don't take melee characters to high level time of VR in the first place. It's just not worth it. It's way too dangerous in the first place because Murasaki's so slow and we'll just talk about VR because that's perfect leeway into that. Saika is going to be a melee character, obviously, unless she has some sort of range modifier that's if she's just gonna be Asuka too, I'm fine with that. I always just wanted Asuka to have healing in the first place, because if you don't have overwhelming power with Asuka, you're not gonna win. That's just the thing with her. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. That, and you also need, I think it's penetration, because of the critical resistance in there. Regardless, you can still do pretty good job with you know, critical builds. Melee can get pretty far in the tower. It's, yeah. In Time of VR, it can get pretty far by itself, but it starts having a lot of problems when you start adding in those really, really god-awful debuffs. Like, I'm talking like, oh, we're getting in the 30s, we're getting in the 40s, and we have these horrendous debuffs. Like, there's like 6 or like 8 you see on the right side of the screen. It's like, wow, this is awful. I can't do anything as a player at this point. Which is why everybody tends to go ranged, because, well, let's see. The robots are ranged, but most of their action happens in melee. Master Taimanin, she's melee specific, but has she's melee specific, but requires you to but is really helpful to play from ranged against her. Like, I mean, have you seen that tornado attack? It rips Murasaki apart because it has a shotgun effect. Because who would have thought us having 6 projectiles spinning all around at once on an enemy, and then having the AI run directly into them? Yeah, you're not going to get very far with it. One day I do want to go talk about, like, strictly about Time of VR stuff. Because as the more and more I experiment inside Time of VR, it's like this... It's fun to experiment sometimes and find solutions to things, but... I mean, I do have the resources to do it, but I need to obviously play it way more and get to higher floors, because I cannot get past like fucking 30 stuff. Like, you gotta sit there and you have to play to win in that sort of game mode. You can like you can't really half-ass stuff in there, because you're just probably going to die. And since like the death penalty in Time of VR is so high, like, I mean, there's a death penalty in the sense that you'll fail the mission, you'll still get like half credits, but also if you want to use that same team again, you have to heal them, which is super duper annoying. I kind of wish they had like a little regeneration feature in Time of VR. Like, you know, oh, once every hour they'll recover like 10% of their HP, so you can try again in an hour. Or at least go attempt with your old team. Go attempt it with your old team and try and heal off of a different floor. Because having to wait effectively 24 hours to try again is probably more troublesome to most people than, you know, some others. Like when you have like 25 characters, it's not so bad. However, I only have about 6 characters totally leveled up that I actually bother using. How you doing there, Jugao? I'm just sitting here talking about Time of VR things, because I was talking about Maika earlier, how it's very exciting for her to get in, but I want to see also what kind of healing she has, because I don't doubt that she's gonna have like more damage. She's gonna do more damage than a sun exploding. So like, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt she's gonna be able to do that. I'm just more or less concerned with the whole fact of what kind of, is she gonna have any healing, because that's a trend that they've been setting up for the last couple of character releases. They have some sort of like crowd heal or individual powerful heal. Because Aina was the last character to release, and the only healing that Aina has is the field skill, is the shooting drone thing, which is a percent-based heal off of your maximum HP. So I always like stacking my Aina with like 55,000 health, and it just like, it'll heal everybody in there. It's great. How you doing there though, Jugao? You playing the Time of VR? Are you doing any fun strategies? Got any comments for the system itself? Because it's a hell of a lot better than when it started. But now it's still not like my favorite situation, because I like the tower because it doesn't feel as bullshit. It's just like you can accomplish things in there and it feels good to do so. In time of VR, it's like, all right, you know what? We're just gonna make like a sliding scale of content. That's about it. That's how we do things here, Gremory. It's a sliding scale, and that scale is like, okay, we're just gonna give you effectively like cancer, AIDS, HIV, a cold, and like you stubbed your toe. In terms of like debuffs and effects against you. Like the ones that are like on hit effects against you as a player, that's fine. Because if you don't get hit, you don't get those effects applied to you. It's as simple as that. It's stuff like ultimate damage down, what is it? Ultimate damage down, skill damage down, things that are applied inherently. Like, and effectively like, oh, a 50% damage deduction to skills in the first place. Kind of sucks. I really hate those effects. Because it makes like a run that's like, it could potentially go very well, turn into very bad. Like this week is the Spider Lady. And whenever I see the skill damage down, I actually have legitimate fear of timing out the mission because I'm not going to do enough damage, which kind of reflects on my characters in the first place. It reflects not only on my characters, but also like the way I've leveled them. So that means I've got to go do secret missions again. I've been lacking. I've been lacking for a while on them. Actually, let me see how much these are. I've been lacking for a while on them. I need to get back in the habit. How many of these do I have? 9,000. Cool. But you really haven't touched Time of VR since it's launched, so you don't really got much of an opinion on it. But now you got the job that's the game that's your hard-earned cash. It's like, see, there you go. We all got our vices, that's for sure. I mean, you can see here, I got mine. It's pretty much on display for everybody. Where are you, Shizuru? I can't find you. There you are. Yo, katana. Wakata. I want this. She's suppressed. She doesn't exactly have buffs. That's not true. What did you end up buying there, though, Jigao? Buy anything good in terms of the characters? Did you spend the money and get one of those fancy schmancy character packs that are like, I don't know, like the when you level your characters up to like bajillion something, like 75 to 81, and they give you those insanely good packages? Oh, you got Anrose. What do you think? Oh wait, I forgot. Oh, critical damage and melee attacks. See, that actually makes sense. No, I need to get some. No, all right. Pow, 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 pow. Oh, cool! You got Anrose and you got Rin. Well, the Rin outfit pack specifically. Nice, good job of jumping in there. Look at those things go. God, she's fucking enormous. Sprout Goblin. Anrose is kind of pretty fun. She's just kind of clunky with some of her skills. Yeah, you could say that. Girl's honestly kind of mid. Like she like falls in the middle of the pack. Like she's not, you know, Noah bad, or like she's not like low investment Noah, Tokiko, or Shizuru bad. I mean, she's literally just okay. She comes with 3 healing skills, and even those healing skills kind of suck. I honestly really hate I honestly really hate using Anros a lot. That'll be a nice goal for this year. We get to get the 1,000 subscriber special, and that'll be the big Anros review, where I absolutely tear into this hopeless woman, where it was not her fault the way that she turned out, but yeah, we'll just have like a Seth style review where it's like, oh man, hey people, Hardcorn here. We're gonna talk about how terrible this character is today, and I'm gonna ham it up. Yaksha Ito style is the worst defender with that. Floretti's Rymax is her best skill. There's no doubt about that. It's like, it's so fast. She has weapons that reduce its cooldown drastically, and it just does a shitload of damage. I think it actually matches her element too, which is suppress. So it's like, there's no reason not to. It's a similar situation to Shizuru, where you don't really run anything besides Rose Rondo because it does so much damage. Because all the other skills take like huge investment for like mediocre power. I'm not gonna lie, like Shizuru takes like a lot of practice to get used to and actually use correctly, but it's like, you know, you feel really good. You feel good learning about it. You feel good learning about it, and it's like you feel like a winner while like using her. What's the skill where she like holds the button down, holds down dodge, and she activates a counter skill? That skill sucks. It's like one of the worst counter skills in the game. Like, oh, it's terrible. Like, she honestly feels really half-baked. Which makes me feel sad. It's like a whole, you know, this is the character that won the #1 spot in the poll, and you treat her this badly. You did get her maid outfit though. It's probably the favorite maid outfit in the game. Kurenai's maid outfit's probably my favorite. Like, Kurenai doesn't typically get a whole lot, but when she gets an outfit, it usually works really well for her. I love Rose Rondo. That's such a fun skill. You just come in there, do like a huge nuke, and then leave. Then you wait 11 more seconds, and then do it again. You can kill most things with like, you can kill most high-level content with like 3 of them. God forbid 1. I started the combo way too early. I don't need Sprout Garden. I need to give her another attack skill. Oh, it's still on cooldown. God, I wish Rose Rondo just had like 2 seconds off for a cooldown, because it doesn't need to be that long. It feels really rough when that happens. Where's the supporter? I want... No, it's skills. We need to get Sprout the Garden. Queen's Whip. Where's Whip Shot? There it is. That's a usable skill. Is Saika gonna get new weapons or share with Asuka? She's probably gonna get a whole new type of weapon, because Saika does not fight specifically with blades from what I remember. She fights like, you know, using her kung fu tactics and everything like that. I think that like the little video they showed the other day, it's like, you know, where they showed like, it's Saika, she's gonna release on April 4th, and it's, that happens. I'm like, okay, she's gonna release then, we're gonna see what she brings to the table. I don't think she's gonna share with them, and if she does share weapons with Asuka, that would be great. It would save me a lot of time for sure. But I've already got the arena points set up in the first place, so I can have an arena weapon ready for her. I just hope to high heaven that she doesn't stink. I don't want, like, you know, oh, she looks cool from the preview, and then it turns out she's gonna be bad. I always have that sort of like cautious optimism about me, because, you know, they showed Tokiko off in the same fashion, and she's legit. I don't know. Tokiko's not very good without extreme investment, and I don't have that kind of investment. And it always feels legitimately difficult to use her, and not good. It's the same with Noah before she got her update. Like, yeah, man, I get like a 5/5 gotcha weapon, and I still can't hurt anything with Noah because she gets interrupted every step of the way. Like, come on, baby. You gotta get your shit together. As long as she looks good, I don't care about the gameplay unless she's outrageously bad. I can understand that, but you guys understand when we play things over here at Hardcorn's Hut. We're gameplay autists for sure here. It's like, yeah, yeah, the story's wonderful, but how's that gameplay doing? How's that doing over there? So that's why I've been playing a lot of Nioh recently, which is like. That's probably like one of my favorite game series ever, because it's a game that demands you to be perfect, and it's very high execution. I like that. I like that in my games, where they have a nice, pretty decently high skill floor, but the ceiling is so high you won't touch it unless you put in like 500 hours. And even at 500 hours, you're still having the time of your life. Where'd they come from? Oh my god, I absentmindedly reset the stage. I didn't even realize it happened. I thought, oh, I must be stuck or something. I mean, Tokiko's a nice lady. I'm sure she's pretty. Well, I don't know. I like the other Fuma family characters. I like Saika better, and I like Amane better. But I like them both mechanically and like in terms of how they are in lore, and also how they look for their designs. I'm honestly just like, I really don't like Tokiko. Like she's just really something that doesn't appeal to me at all. I have her, but I have her because I feel somewhat obligated. But everybody's like, dude, she's got the butt going on. You know how many characters got the butt in this game? Like, a lot. She's got a lot of ass, but she's not a lot of ass that I like, you know? You couldn't get into Nioh 1, but 2 looks a lot more interesting. Well, I'll tell you this much. Nioh 2 is effectively Nioh 1.5. Like, they take the enemies, locations, and stuff like that from the first game, give them a slightly new coat of paint. Like, they just effectively put like some new clear coat on top of it to make it look more shiny. Put in a few more new enemies, a few more new levels, and that's it. Like, if you liked, if you didn't like 1, you probably won't like 2 that much. However, 2 introduces the whole aspect of introduces some new status effects and makes things revolve around enemy key depletion much more, and there's a lot more ways to get them out of key. The burst counter thing actually makes the game a lot easier, because burst counter makes you completely invincible for the entire duration, which is a very, very strong maneuver, and it's pretty spammable from what I remember. And it's also like, it stops the enemy dead in their tracks if like you use it correctly. So they made the game a little easier, but it's still a very high execution game, like very, very high. Like if you did not have a good time in the base game of Neo 1, the base game of Neo 2 will give you trouble. I mean, there is a place in this world for high execution stuff like that. I mean, it's the whole reason why Devil May Cry exists in the first place. Like, the combat also got very much... It got so... What is it? The combat for 2 actually, like, improved so much that, like, for Neo 1, I never really saw a lot of combo videos for it. But in 2, I actually see, like, lots of combo content for it. Because they added you, they added you the ability to use yokai abilities. No, they added you the player to... take spirits, it's like spirit heart chunks or whatever, and you can have yokai abilities. Which is like you press the modifier button, and then use one of the assigned modifiers to activate your skill. And then you can do shit like throw a spear that decreases enemy maximum ki decrease, and grabs an enemy and then does it for a ton of damage to ki and also health. And they also have modifiers as well. Like it's like I honestly could go on about that for a whole thing. I've had thoughts about doing stuff for that, but it's like, you know, I need to get through 1 first again. I mean, even then with like Neo 1 and 2, they still have the same problems. Well, no, 2 has mitigated some of the problems. Like they still have that god awful second to last boss where it's like you have to fight effectively a gigantic building, or you have to fight a gigantic enemy in the first place, and you have to do like a few steps to like take out its HP, and it's always so long and slow. Like even when you go look up the speedrun to go see like, okay, there's got to be a faster way to do it, there's not a lot of faster ways to do it. It's a lot of waiting, which is it's not fun in a game like that. It's a very high octane, explosive amounts of challenge, and then they give you something that slows the game down drastically. It's like, why? Couldn't you have just like couldn't you just had this like big large enemy assisting the human or something? They probably do that in the DLC, because they did that in the DLC for 1, and it's like some of the best and worst fights in the game. I mean, I'm getting to the point now in Neo 2 where it's like I'm able to first try some of these late game bosses, which is good in the sense that I've hit the level of mastery that I can just see a situation and know how to immediately solve it. But it's also now the challenge is starting to go away. I need to switch it up, or more or less, I need to finish the game because it's getting too easy now. I hate to say it. Because like you mastered 1, you effectively mastered 2. Well, it makes getting used to 2 much easier. Get him. Smack him good, Shizuru. Whip him good. Oh wow, that actually, like, Shizuru's race queen outfit actually takes design cues from Asagi's regular costume and her normal, and Shizuru's normal outfit. I like that. Like, they really do make some really good outfits for Action Taimanin. Like, it makes me wish that they got these in, like, RPGX or something. Because they look really good. Like, that when they first introduced that, high gloss effect for, Asagi when she got her renewal update. I think it was, like, when Asagi got that update. Well, no, I think Sakura and Yukikaze got those beforehand. They got those beforehand, but I don't think they added the high gloss effect. But when that got added to Asagi, I think now a whole bunch of characters have that in the first place. That high gloss texture, or whatever shader it is. It's really good looking. I like it a lot. I know they use it on Murasaki's Race Queen outfit, and it's really nice. It's really good to look at. It really accentuates the whole, you know, like, it gives the girls that wet look. It's really good. They need to use that more often. That I can appreciate them getting right is like they get the outfits right. Or at least it's something to get like, oh man, nice neuron activation moment. I mean, do you see this outfit for Shizuru? It's like, god damn, that is some insane stuff right there. She lets it all out. It all hangs out with her. They do that. Well, they do that with like a lot of Shizuru's outfits in the first place. They really just give it like. They give it their all with her. Like, even Maika's looks like a little more conservative compared to Shizuru's. Oh, I missed. Damn it. I mean, the whole factor of this game that, like, well, yeah, the whole reason I, like, wanted to play this game in the first place is when they first released the game, I think it was, like, late 2019. I think it was. Like, late 2019 or something like that. They, the way that the characters looked, was pretty much dead on to the art. Like, when I saw, like, they actually have Asagi, you can play as her in a game like this, and it looks like correct to the art. I was so enamored by that. I think that was a really huge selling point for me. Like, they got it right. And then they gave the renewal update to Asagi, and honestly, it's like I don't like it very much. It's something that I wish they would be able to, like, you could turn it on and off, or like be selective about the features you want used on the character. It's like Rinko's renewal, it's like, yeah, that's fine. She kind of needed it. But with someone like Asagi, like, she didn't really need it. I liked the way she looked beforehand. But everyone else is like, oh, it looks a certain way. It's like, I don't like the way that is. It's like, I don't know. That original look that they maintained for like almost 3 years, it's like, it's what sold me. It's fantastic. Like, they did the same, like, they were going to do the same thing with Sue, but they didn't need to. So they just improved her mechanically, which is good. I like it when they do mechanical improvements because that's something I'm, like, really good at. Because if we ever like talk about costumes, it's usually like whenever I talk about costumes, it's always about coloring them. It's almost always about talking about coloring them because that's a mechanical feature of the costumes. Because you know what's the other thing you can talk about with the costumes is the fucking horny factor about them. It's like, wow, you guys want to see like what the horny factor is on, like, you know, some of these costumes? It's like, man, that's like 6 boners out of 10, dude. It's like, I don't care. Whenever I get the fucking like big boner moments right there, I go make a video about it. I did that with Shizuru and I did that with Tokiko. Because as much as I dislike Tokiko, I love Tokiko. It has a gigantic fucking ass and I love it so much. And Shizuru is like one of my favorite characters from like the entire Taimanin series. I like her as much as I like Asagi. They're like two of my favorite characters. Well, she's really up there with like Ingrid, Asagi, and Rinko. Like I'll buy merchandise of them if I see it. It's like it's not like money's no object. I'll get it. So with Shizuru getting in the game, it was like it's go time. And then I put up like the one video I made like last week, which is Galleon brings the comfort of the earth, which is one of my favorite characters from Grand Blue Fantasy. Like actually, like now she gets a new costume. It's like, oh my god, she's so pretty, fantastic. Literally like a big sweat moment over there, the Pepe sweats. Or whatever those Twitch kids use every day or whatever like that. It's like, oh my god, she's so beautiful. So pretty. Like how do you do that, Side Games? How do you manage to create something like so amazing? Vital gets me the same way, but it's like with with Galleon, I'm able to find much more cleaner art because there's just more art for her in general. Also more art of her clothes. That was a big thing for me, making that. I should post that on like the Grand Blue Fantasy Reddit or something. That's a fun video. Damn, so I have to kill him. Like, they didn't have to make her this fucking fat, but they did. It's so good. Oh, my bake. I'm a fucking bake. Let me switch up the music. It's been playing the Payday 2 soundtrack for a while. And I love the Payday 2 soundtrack. It's really, really good. There it is, my friend Pedro. That shit rocks. The Asian devs do have the secret to creating hot characters because they don't usually have the hang-ups of purity, like the purity hang-ups and like sort of weird saving face aspects. Well, no, they regard sexuality a little differently over there, like in Asia. In America, it's all about that, like that purity factor, which is what holds back a lot of situations, really, for people wanting to make like, you know, Western-themed sexualized games or sexualizing their characters in the West. It's annoying, but it's like, you know, that's ingrained in Western society. It's not like something that's come up in like the last 20 years, the SJW menace has really come to fruition and taking over the world. It's not really. It's been around. It's just that it has a different face and a different name every couple of years, and it changes. How many duties do I have? 15,000. Okay, we're almost there. I want to change this to blue. Blue is that one. Because it's not like Western devs can't make, like, you know... No, we'll use green. Because it's not like Western devs can't make sexualized characters in the game. They used to be pretty good at it, too, whenever they're given the chance. However, when the purity police rear their ugly heads, they always have a sort of thing like that. Sadly, I can't use Rose Rondo. Oh wow, I just realized. I really hope Saika doesn't have a aerial rave skill. Because nobody uses these. They're so fucking bad. They're like something you put in the trailer and that's it. So bad. Queen's Whip. A whip shot, okay. Oh, damn it. Come on. Queen's Whip. Plant the Walu. Where is... There's Whip Grip. Whip Grip is the one with the area effect. The other one is just Tentacle Anchor. Yeah, I mean, it comes in waves for the most part. Because like right now we're having like tyrannical Puritan ideals, so we're going to have another sexual revolution in the next like 10 years or something. It's like going from like the 50s and like the 40s and 50s to the 60s and 70s, and then the 70s and like the 80s and 90s, and then it's like it'll loop back and forth. Like this isn't like, you know, something that's like, oh, it's crazy, it's so stupid. Like why are they doing these things? It's like it's going to turn around. It always does. It comes in waves. It's just that it gets a new face and a name. It's like as of late, I've also been reading about the Roman Empire itself. They have, you know, they have to deal with they deal with problems in the past that seem similar to the problems we have today. So it's just pretty much that like we get a new kind of the problems just get a new coat of paint every, you know, effectively every 2 generations. That's why I've never really sat down and get like pissed off at the cause of censorship or anything like that, because like it doesn't make sense to me. It goes away, and it's like these sort of concepts don't stick around. They move around, and it's like they move around. They're going to be effectively different due to the people in charge getting replaced, or they go out of business. Like it doesn't matter to me. Because I mean, out here we're not so much concerned about that sort of thing. I want to play the fucking game. Like, I want to play the game. That's what I'm concerned about. Because I remember a friend let me beta test their game, and they were supposed to be like, oh, it's going to be like Onichimbara Z2 Chaos, and it's going to have like a really hardcore combat system. And I got to try it, and it's like I didn't, and like what I was playing, like, you know, doing the mechanical testing and everything, it was just like it wasn't a wireframe model. It's like a bare posable model that they use in like Unity or something. I didn't care that it was that. I just wanted to play the game. It just helps to have something nice to look at, because it's like when you have to play, like, you know, some people just don't like to play like the numbers game, you know, like looking at that. You're effectively playing a text-based simulator at that point with player movement behind it. Look at that, I hit him so hard he spit up a potion. I love it. Yes, the ultimate objectification of women in this game. I don't see Shizuru as Shizuru. I see her as medium range specialist with long wind up and mediocre heal, which you have to baby. That's like autism mode right there. It's like, I don't see you as a person, you're just a statistic. Oh man, they spawned in, it's like, dang it. Oh, that's right. When you use the tentacle anchor version, it takes you right to him. This one, you have to be like over a couple of feet. Oh yeah, it's understandable to want to. It's understandable to want to play the content as it was originally presented. Obviously, nobody will share the same. They don't want to share. They don't share the same ideas that you and me do. So they're going to make it suit to their one, their company politics, and two, their personal ones as well. And what happens when both of those line up? Well, you get pretty weird situations like Working Designs. Working Designs is a company from the 90s and early 2000s that would do professional translations for JRPGs and other stuff from Japan itself. They would do similar things to like what we see now with like, you know, how they like, oh, we're going to cut content censored in some way. Or it's like, we're going to remove this part in general or make it more difficult. It's like also how they treat classic Disney movies or episodes of like The Simpsons. They remove small problematic content that does not fit company standards. Like it's even small things as well. Like you wouldn't even notice like, oh, they're gonna take a cross in the background out. It's like, and it looks weird without it. It looked weird in the first place. Like everybody looks at Castlevania in the first place. It's like, you know, oh man, Castlevania? It's like, I look at Castlevania like this. Castlevania is Japan's way of looking at Christianity. Christianity and, well, Gothic architecture and I almost said Cincinnati. Gothic architecture in Cincinnati and also Christianity as well. That's how they view certain Christian things about it. It's like, he's a vampire. The Belmonts fight vampires and use the power of the Lord. It's like, wow. That's pretty cool. They like the mysticism aspect about it, you know? That's what attracts them to Christianity. Not like the boring ass bureaucracy that comes with like Christianity itself. They don't care about that because that's not translated into Japanese. Unless you're actually a devoted follower of Christianity or religions like that in Japanese. They don't care about that. They like seeing like the Lord did this, the concept of death, religious dogmatic traditions. They like that. They like putting that in their game because it sounds cool. It's a similar situation with like Westerners and seeing Eastern material. It's like, dude, red Oni, blue Oni, that's like my favorite thing ever. Oh wow, that character dichotomy is so cool. And then like, where is it, the old lady? It's like the old lady on the side of the road traveler thing. It's like, yeah, I like that. You have a fascination with it. So when they have like a game like Castlevania come over there, which is a Japanese interpretation of Christianity, they take out the Christianity in a supposedly Christian country, which doesn't make any sense in the world. It's so dumb. That's why Japan loves the church bad story, because they don't really have that sort of thing over there. We do though, because we see like churches and stuff like they're all over, you know, like the United States and the Western world. It's like it's a part of this we can't get rid of, which leads back into the whole purity ideal. It's a sort of idea that's been maintained for like over 1,000+ years. You like to believe you're free, but in reality you're just an asshole. Yeah, the Christian aesthetic is pretty cool. Like, I mean, you see like a priest's robes and all that sort of stuff. Everybody loves the ornate look of them. That's why they're almost like, every time when you see like a church scene in like a movie, it's always like shot so cleanly. It's shot so cleanly and positively, with very somber chamber music. It gives the same look every single time. So it's either like, you know, a church bad situation or whatever, but it's like, that's how they do it. That's how they like it. That's what we know and we understand. It's like, I like that. It works. And the Crusader Knight will always look badass as well. It's like exactly. That's why I like shit like Crusader Kings 2. That stuff sells really well because it's like, oh wow, that taps into like the sort of primal idea for Western nations of Christianity. It's like, oh my god, dude, a knight fighting in the Crusades, that's my man. That's my man out there. I love it. That's so cool. There's our boy. There's our man. Because I think like what? Because I've been thinking of Diablo lately. Because they have the... Yeah, because speaking of the Christian aesthetic, I've been thinking about Diablo lately since they have the open beta this weekend. I mean, like, I'm not going to play that because, for one, I'm kind of done with those kind of games for the most part. Also, my mouse is starting to crap out, and it's like that's a really important thing to have when you play Diablo. But I think Diablo has always had a sort of Crusader class. The religious, like the hardcore, heavily armored religious zealot who uses holy magic. We just love Christianity, man. It's in our blood. As much as you want to be like a Reddit atheist or something, it's like I will never ever use the holy man character. It's like it doesn't matter. It's what sells. It's great. Well, sure there is, Raptor. In fact, that's actually a whole thing in Neo. That's what the whole thing of Neo 1 is. You gotta protect Christian missionaries while they make a foothold in Japan. It's also a part of the story in Neo 2. It's effectively the expansion of Christianity into the Eastern world. I mean, you can effectively... My God, you can effectively thank Oda Nobunaga for introducing Christianity to Japan and letting them learn about those newfangled traditions from across the great ocean. I mean, I'm no Warring States expert, but it's like, yeah, I think they got the right idea with that one. I mean, they gave us Castle Vagina. That's pretty good enough for me. I should probably play one of those games one day. Whether it be like an original Castlevania game or like one of the later Ikavanias or something. We'd probably just end up playing Symphony of the Night because I actually know that. Because I've actually tried playing some of the later ones that came after Symphony of the Night and I haven't beaten them. Because it's like, I get stuck somewhere and I don't want to play it anymore, or it's just like I don't care. Because it just feels like I'm playing Symphony of the Night again. Symphony of the Night's actually a very easy game that you can absentmindedly just sit around and do fuck all with it. That's what I like so much about it. You can just hang around as Alucard and mess around in the castle. There's no real danger. Nothing. There's no real danger after you get after like level 10 or 12. You just start killing everything really quickly. Even the bosses don't stand a chance. I mean, then you even have Richter mode, which is like the most busted shit ever. You can complete the game within like 30 minutes or less. Well, I wouldn't say 30 minutes. I'd probably say like an hour for most people, if they knew what they're doing. Which is why I like it so much. Do you guys ever play any of those Castlevania games? Like the sort of older style or even the newer ones? Because I think Castlevania is like has a similar situation to like Mega Man. Because they have their classic games, which, you know, people sometimes know them for, but they also have their newer titles, which helps keep the franchise relevant, but also changes the face of it, for better or worse. Because obviously it's a very divisive aspect between, like, oh man, Mega Man X killed the original Mega Man series, where we get to fight like the 10 Robot Masters and everything. Well, it's a little bit of yes and a little column A, little column B. But I won't get into that sort of thing. That's a can of worms for sure. Because I'll be honest, I've never played like any Mega Man games besides like the Battle Network series, which I love a lot, and also what is it called? Mega Man 2 for the NES. Because you know that's the one everybody knows. It's got a Wily Theme 2 or something like that, which is the one that everybody loves because it's a good song. There's some other good songs as well in the Mega Man series. But frankly, it's like, man, it ain't for me. It ain't me. Song by Creedence Clearwater Revival. It ain't me. God, every time I think of that song, like I find the you can find that one version of the one titled version of the song on YouTube of Fortunate Son. It's not titled actually Fortunate Son. It's Creedence Clearwater Revival. It ain't me. And it's so great because it's the actual song, and it's not like a joke title or anything like that. This guy is 100% serious. The guy is 100% serious in titling it "It Ain't Me" because there's like he's using Windows. They made it with Windows Movie Maker, and you can see it's just like little blue marquee comes up in the middle of the screen. It says Creedence Clear CCW. It ain't me. It's like you're serious. You had to have, like, this is, it feels like a joke almost because you had to have known it's called Fortunate Son. It's what is it? It's a, you had to have known about it so well to get it so wrong. Back on the Mega Man thing. Mega Man in the first place has a lot of changes they go through in the series. Like, let's see, Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, they were sort of like this exploration type game, an adventure, which is cool and all. I like it. I like the way it looks for sure. But the thing is, it's like, it obviously didn't take off and they didn't have anything they did for it. Finally got Kuromachi Keito again. Now I can actually level her up. Got 6 copies of it now. Battle Network for Mega Man almost feels like it's the sort of well, Battle Network in the first place is a game where you have a 3x3 grid on yours and the opponent's side of the screen, and you effectively play cards against them in a real-time battle scenario. It's pretty cool, and I like it a lot because it's you don't realize you're playing a card game until you get actually a lot older. Like when you're younger and you start learning how to play that game, it's like it's pretty complicated, but it's also really cool because of the complications. Like you learn how to do effective deck building strategies and not just fucking around for the most part. Because you can beat the game with like a whole bunch of brute force chips, but you won't get past anything after the final boss when you do like the post game stuff, which I can appreciate. It makes you wonder like how much personal investment do I want to have with this. Oops. Which is fine with me. This is Demon Day. Okay. Where are you, Shizuru? There you are. You're always in the middle. It took about 90 minutes to do, which is fine by me. Because you have to wait for them to actually arrive at that point so they can get blown up. If you don't do that, then they're not going to win. Excellent. Oh, do they actually drop more? I never noticed that. Dude. Alright, I think Emily's already leveled up. Actually, I think Maika's a protect character. Isn't she? Yes, she is. I don't know why I put that Shizuru supporter on her in the first place. It didn't matter. It did matter. It does not matter. Actually, no. I don't want to use that. I want to use Mitsuki. Because if I do it right, I'll be able to use it twice. Or it won't be, no, I'll be use it once. Oh, she didn't crit. Now that's sad. Something I remember from, well, what is it? When I was talking about the thing where you have to have known how to do it correctly in the first place to get it so wrong. When I was in like 5th grade, we had to write a letter to a veteran. So I didn't know any veterans in my life. So I wrote to my teacher's father who had fought in World War II. It was actually a pretty interesting thing I got to read about. I liked it a lot. So in elementary school, elementary school as an avid reader. I don't know why that goes away, but I'm a very avid reader in elementary school. So when that happened, it's like, okay, everybody who got a letter at this point, they had to have the teacher help pronounce a word. So it's like, okay, I want to have a showing of humanity, a little bit of a showing of humanity on my end. So I mispronounced the word Zell, which is a city in Germany. So I was like, so I held it. So when I was reading the paper aloud in the class that I got in terms of a letter, I was like, I held the paper up to my face and said, Zeal? Teacher, how do I pronounce this word? It's like, it's Zell. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, wow. I don't know. It's like, that was a whole, like, saving face sort of thing I was, like, obsessed with when I was in 5th grade. But I thought that was just, like, it's so dumb looking back on there that I had to handicap myself in that way. Because I knew it was Zell. I just wanted to, like, it's like, oh yeah, I'll do that to help, you know, like, be in with them. It's like they all had to pronounce a word, even though I knew how to pronounce the word in the first place. I don't know, that's just a me thing about it. God, that pizza was nasty. Well, I wouldn't say it was like nasty, it was like, man. Well, like the sauce is now under my fingernails. So I'm like I scratch my face or something, or like rub it against my pants, and then I see like these red spots that come up all over like my pants or like my face, and I wonder like what's going on here. Oh no! Oh, it's just marinara sauce that gets all over me. My favorite. I can do that. Wind slice. Yeah, I'll just do meteors. If I had one, where is it? Yeah, there we go. I'll just use Ginyu Mitsue. Of Digimon Ghost Game. Is it like the final episode of the season there, Raptor, or is it just like the series finale? Because, I mean, there's always going to be like a Digimon, you know, regardless of the situation. Like, they're not going to get rid of the Digimon, are they? Series finale, okay. Boy, they really picked a weird time to go, you know, like, let's have our series finale, like, just a little bit after Pokemon. It's like a director being that delusional, thinking they're gonna like release against a Star Wars or like a James Cameron movie. It's like, it's just not gonna work, dude. Nobody's gonna see this. Kojoko, come on. Go, Rinko, good girl. Kill them all. I can't find her. Where is she? Man, October's a long way away there, Raptor. They're gonna have a new movie again? Well, I don't know. Digimon having a new movie is pretty par for the course on that situation. They have a lot of those, I think. I think they probably have more movies than Pokemon does, from what I remember. But I'm not too sure. I haven't watched a Pokemon movie in a long time, and I know that I haven't watched a Pokemon movie in a while because Zarude, one of the mythicals that came out, I think like 2 generations ago, I think was introduced in a movie, and I have no idea what that thing is. It's a disgusting looking monkey, and it's not that great. Like, the only reason I knew it was around is because I saw it over there at the like, I was checking Pokemon Showdown, and I was seeing like Zarude. I would see Zarude on people's teams, and I was wondering like, what's that? What's this thing? It's like one of those mythicals everybody uses like for the first couple of weeks, and then it falls off the face of the earth when the meta gets introduced. Like a walking wake situation. It's like, oh my god, it's so strong. It's so crazy. But it's not. It's actually quite manageable. Cause I think it's like dark and grass, which is a really odd type combination. It's a dark grass melee physical melee skill attacker. It's a physical attacker for the most part, not my cup of tea, I'll say that much. I wouldn't use it. In fact, I don't use it. Now we all have our favorite typings, but what's like the worst typing you could actually have? What's a typing that makes you just go like, man, this sucks? The Pokemon that has it just like it sucks. Or it's like, you know, there's some Pokemon out there that you're like, oh, they have this typing, but they're not the best because they fall apart like a sack of potatoes. That was really apparent for me in Generation 5. Like when I was starting to really grow up and see that some Pokemon just weren't worth giving a damn about. Like Sigilyph is one of my favorite Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 5. And Sigilyph's Flying Psychic. You know what else is Flying Psychic? Lugia. And I had a Lugia when I was a kid. It's like I saw, oh man, this is gonna be like my flying character. This is gonna fly and everything. Getting Sigilyph was like a really big regret because I couldn't bring it out into battle without it getting severely damaged or just damn near dying. It just couldn't do it. And I hated that because Sigilyph is like one of my favorite designs in Pokemon. But it's so frail. It just dies whenever it sees like a problem and whenever it comes against a problem. Like I couldn't switch into it. I couldn't do anything with it. I'm like, why do you have to look so good and be so bad? But in that same area, that's where I got Crocodile. Crocodile is one of my favorite Pokemon as well because it's so cool looking. But your worst type's probably Rock. I would say the same too there, Raptor. It's Rock's stuck in a, you know, itself in a hard place. It needs some help. I think the biggest help that Rock has had is like in Generation 4 is when Sandstorm is active, it gives a 50% buff to their defense and special defense, which is like really nice for Sandstorm teams. It helps them a lot in terms of their survivability. But man, you're Rock. You have 5 weaknesses and they're all really, really common stuff. I thought Rock is weak to ground. And like so many Pokemon learn Earthquake in the first place. It's either like Earthquake or Magnitude, anything like that. It's like they just get absolutely like slaughtered. Like you see anything with a Rock subtype, it's just like you use Earthquake and the game's over. It's not like Steel. Steel is the same situation where like ground is strong against it, but Steel actually has Pokemon with bulk behind it that don't suck. Yeah, ground has 3 weaknesses and a whole immunity. I mean, having an immunity is just like one of the best things you can ever have in Pokemon. Like being Steel, you're immune to poison. That's insane. And you're also like take half damage from water. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you take half damage from water, and water is one of the most prevalent types in the whole series. It's so good. Like Rock was supposed to be the defensive type, but like it's obvious because they gave it so many like insanely good resistance. They gave it resistances, and they also Pokemon who are Rocks generally have a lot of bulk behind them. They gave them physical bulk, but they also get totally screwed over by fighting, which is another really common type. Which is safe to say, it's like they Rock really needs a lot of help. It really needs a rebalance, from what I can understand. Like, ground is 100% the better earthen type. There's like no doubt about it. Like, there's just no reason to run specifically rock over something like ground. Like when you go play like monotype on when you go play the monotype ladder on Showdown, you don't see when you see a rock type team, it's like probably someone trying to do a meme comp. It's usually like a meme composition thing, and if they want to play seriously, they get out like ground. Because ground is just like that much better. It's a similar situation to ice. Ice is another one of those types that's like in a really bad situation where their moves offensively are great. They just have a lot of Pokemon who can't take advantage of them. Like, it's like a situation with Ice Beam. Ice Beam is one of those moves that should have been limited to like mostly just ice types. Awesome, the glitch still works. You got Murasaki. You know Akuma. In Generation 1, all the rock types are 4 times weakness to grass and water. That's actually that's sad. Like, by God, it's like, I think Razor Leaf in Generation 1 was coded to like almost always crit. So like you just have a Bulbasaur using Razor Leaf against like a Golem, and it just like makes him evaporate. By God, Rock was just doomed from the start. Which is sad because Rock has like some of my favorite Pokemon. It's just that fighting is also such a really good type. It's super effective against like so many things, and it only really has effectively like one weakness. Like, that's it. Like fighting, Ghost, Dark is another really good offensive type. Psychic, not so much. It does a lot of special attack things, but it's like, man, you can't say no to that. It's like, it's like people love fighting types. It's like it's the reason why Fighting Fire is one of the most prevalent typings in the whole game. It's so good. Fire is awesome offensively, and fighting is as well. So let's put them together. Oh my God, we made something totally broken. How do we fix this? It's the best part. Ranged. Yeah. Because I was thinking about doing another solo run with like an ice type Pokemon, but ice type, like in earlier generations, ice types really suck. They don't get that good. Which is why I would, if I was gonna do anything like that, or like I'd hack in one of the starters to be like an ice type or something. I would end up doing that in like Generation 8 or Generation 9, because man, Ice gets a lot of really good moves after Generation 5 and 6, so it's like, why wouldn't I want to give myself like an inherent advantage to a very, very lackluster type? Like the fact that Triple Axle exists and makes physical ice a reality. It's like, that's fantastic. And then something like, and then Weavile can learn it. It's like, oh my God, that's great. Love it. I did mono water type on Emerald Enhanced for it was a hack for Pokemon Emerald. I did that by myself. I did that a couple of months ago. Like I think it was not after Christmas. It was before Christmas. I downloaded it and I wanted to make a thing of it. It was a lot of fun actually. Like I used specifically water types and I was doing really good like all the way throughout the game. It was a lot of fun and everything like that. Had a good time. And then I finally got all the way to the end of the game and I'm fighting Wallace. And let me tell you, I got walled by Wallace. I almost lost and I was so scared. That was the first time in like a sort of vanilla run of Emerald I've been like, oh my god. Because I was playing with like a sort of soft Nuzlocke rules. So I was like, alright. I'll just say this much. Wallace has a Gyarados. And I got cocky. So I let it, I switched out to another Pokemon. And he got 2 Dragon Dances set up. And then he, it's Gyarados uses 2 Dragon Dances. I'm pretty much screwed. And it absolutely tore the shit out of my team. It killed 5 of my Pokemon. And the only way that I won was through stalling him with Toxic Swampert. Not my finest hour, but man, that was close. I also picked some Pokemon that I probably could have did things differently with. Because I was using a Sharpedo, and that was like, I was like, oh, it's Sharpedo, I'll use one of those, because I never use it. And Sharpedo did pretty good, but Gyarados just does things way better all the time. Wallace was a fucking travesty, though. Fighting him was like pulling teeth. I'll say that much. Most people when they do like a Nuzlocke or a challenge run, they usually start having a lot of problems with Wallace, because Wallace I think has Manectric, Magneton, Magnemite, and I think something else. Like, if you don't really have like a strong ground solution in the beginning, you're just the ground or rock. No, ground. Actually, rock takes neutral damage from electricity, which is kind of dumb. I learned that the hard way, but Wallace he has a steel type and he has a very strong offensive physical type with special powers too. And when all you have is water, it's like, man, you just can't win. Oh yeah, I was using a Pelipper as well during that, and I made it a stall Pelipper too, which was fun. Because you can't really play stall Pelipper until they got like hidden abilities in Generation 5, when I got Drizzle and stuff like that. How you doing there, Jeff? We're just doing some secret missions because I'm farming up materials to go get enchantments for Time of VR. So it's something I'm working on. Because I have the materials, it's like I've been caught lacking. Like I'm truly caught lacking because, well, what is it? My enhanced weapons aren't up to snuff. Because I'm getting snuffed out on like floor 25 when I go fight the spider lady. Because I want to actually try to get past, like some of these other floors. But, man. The spider lady is like, the fight is so slow and I'm not dealing enough damage. It's like, oh. The spider lady is like always really rough to fight because there's such a really huge chance of timing out. And it makes me feel like a piece of shit because it's like, you farm all this good stuff, you make all these things for your characters, and you still get screwed over. It's not because of skill, it's not because of like, anything like that, it's just a damage check. Like I could win through sheer skill alone, and I do. But You just lose on a technicality. Hey, what kind of crap is that? How many do I need to farm? I probably need, it's like, this isn't going to be like a one-day thing. This is going to be like, at least a couple of, I need to spend like a few weeks doing this. And obviously since I have like, 20-something characters, I'll be able to get a pretty good amount of resources back. Because I've been doing some enchantments and stuff like that for characters I want to take there. Mostly I just need to farm up for Sora. Because Sora fucking leads the way. Like, she is. My god, she is like, dare I say she was built for Time of VR, because she's really good at it. Oh, you got the bunny figure for Yukikaze, and that was huge? How big is it then? Because usually like when those sort of statues, they're like 1/16. Did they at least give her like a big fat ass there, Jeff? I hope they did. Because what's Yukikaze without her big butt? Well, it's just Yukikaze. And that's not good. Well, I forgot to reattach her flamethrower because I'm still using her Time of VR setup. Oh my god, it's a 1/4? Holy shit. That is huge. Yeah, it's like the DPS check on WoW raids. It's like, DPS checks still exist, unfortunately. It's the most annoying way to artificially extend your game's content, which is to nickel and dime your characters into, oh, you need this, you need X and Y gear to accomplish this. I'm like, okay, thanks. It is always so painful. Like, I remember I was streaming this a few weeks ago when it was the same, like, the big spider lady fight. And I'm like, alright, we're doing pretty good, we're making some progress. We get all the way to 25. 25 is, I think, when they introduce, like, the third phase. When they introduced the third phase for her, and, we time out. I timed out there, right then and there, in front of everybody, and I'm like, alright, I lost. I can't continue. That's just it. So for the last couple of like weeks, I've been looking at stuff to like, improve my Time of VR experience and actually start making progress on floors. Because I have some things I want to do with it, but it's also, because I got a comment a few weeks ago about talking about that sort of stuff. It's like, what do you have to say about these sort of things? It's like, I don't actually have a lot to say about it because I don't play it that seriously. Because it's, because so much of it is hard DPS checks and not enough skill. Which is what turns me off from the whole game mode itself. Because Tower, you can play it with like, you can go in there with mediocre equipment and still win. People do it all the time, and I've done it myself as well. You win with skill. That's what I like about it so much. In Time of VR, it's like you don't win with skill, you just win through numerical advantage. Which is like, it is so annoying. It's so annoying to me that I have to do something like that. So now I've got to sit here and work on like 6 characters, which requires me to like farm every day. But that's enough ranting about that. It's like I always do that. I always do that sort of thing when I get heated about something like Time of VR. Oh darn! I wish I had Onigumo. Where's Furfur actually? Where's my girl at? Where's my semen demon? There she is. Ryu Hashin. Go Sue, go get him. Sue's so go Sue. Oh yeah. You see, I like going to floor 15 or 16 when it's machine week. Machine week is probably my favorite one because I can actually get really far on it. Rinko. Oh, it's the shit. Like, I'm obviously not the best farmer at time of VR because what is it? Like, I don't get the fastest clear times because, like, for one, I also want to get up to higher tier floors on time of VR because they give better rewards in the first place. Like, they'll give, like, if I get to 440 or something like that, it will give me, like, 400 coins alongside with getting another 400 coin drop. Which means I only have to do it, like, 8 times to hit the daily cap. Which is also a really shitty thing, is that there's a daily cap. I never liked that they had that in the first place. I guess it's how they time gate you. But I think my favorite one is Machine Week for Time of VR. It's a nice, challenging situation, and it also doesn't immediately kill all my girls who do some real bullshit. Let's get this little gremlin out of here, though. Yeah, get her out of here. Get her out of here. Nasty. You're nasty, Yukikaze. You're nasty. She's nasty, but she's also the one that carries my ass really hard in Time of VR. She's still level 75, but absolutely just tears the shit out of everything. I need to... If I'm really that serious, I will have to go level her up. Like, get the packages and everything. Oh, do I know Anri Okita there, Raptor? Yes, yes, I know of Miss Okita. Oh, there ain't no missing her. It isn't. This is the really thing I like to say about it. It's like there's snake enemies in Neo 2 that it's like, you know, so the snake enemies are one of the things that they showed off in like one of the first trailers, and the snake enemies, like, they got huge tits, and they also had like, but they have like the long hair that Anri Okita does, so I always call them the Anri Okita snakes. Like, oh, like here, oh my god, here comes the Anri Okita snake. Look out. She's gonna wrap you up in her tail. Haha, that's so bad. Oh my god, I wish she would. I hope she doesn't do that to me. Ha 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 ha. It's great. That would be so awful. It's like the devs asked, do we need to put a daily cap or increase the BP cap? I don't know, it's like... What would you even do at that point? I mean, the daily cap is probably the most simplest solution to do. Put it at 5,000, it takes 8 days... No. What is... Yeah, the daily cap for Time of VR is 5,000. The max, and the cap is 50,000 points. So it takes you 10 days to max it out, which is effectively 1 week's worth of playtime. If you consistently do it. And it takes, I think, if you never lost, it would take you about, 50-something BP to get up to floor 50 to where you can farm it up pretty quickly. It still takes a lot of BP to farm in there. It's like, for me, when I play like Time of VR, I have to decide between doing the arena or doing Time of VR for that day. Not the most elegant of solutions, but it's a solution regardless. What does Oboro have equipped? Hand of Papayas, cool. Yeah, and they went out with the lousier option. Of course they do. It's always such a weird situation. It's like they want, on one hand they will do something incredible like give us the race queen costumes. Like these girls are fucking racist as shit and they look great. I love it. And then they also give us a cap on time of VR coins, but also then they make it have like a default. The fact that the default option, like you get coins and the chance to get items, which is something that they really should have done in the first place. I would have thought like, oh, you complete the mission, you get a fixed amount of money, depending on the floor, and you can also get a chance at items, not a chance of money and items. It makes the farming a whole hell of a lot more tolerable. You're not so tough now there, Ingrid. Local bully, not so tough after getting molested. Get him, Felicia. Show him how it's done. Actually, let's give you this one. I like that. Pride, for what do I have to give? She's a cyst. That's why it won't work. No, I love Sheikah Bane. That's like the best. That's like the best looking scythe for her. Have I heard their song Super Duper or Hungry Spider? Raptor, I didn't even know that she was part of an idol group until you told me. I mean, I'm glad for her that she's finally getting past her her AB idol, life. But I don't know. I think she's sang before, but I'm glad she didn't quit her day job first. Splort. Good old splort.wav just blows up everybody in the vicinity. Alright, Rin. Show us how it's done, baby. Oh, I didn't want to remove that. No. Oh yeah, Laura's costume over here. She's got the Native American look. I love that. I'm glad Saika is getting a costume like that. It sets a nice, dangerous precedent, and that's perfectly fine with me. Because it makes my characters look good. Since that's releasing at the same time as the release date for Saika, that's probably going to be like the Desire Shop costume. Because I don't think they're doing a Golden Pass change anytime soon. But now I can make Grand Tita's mountain range jokes with her, and it's good. Because we cannot forget about this, the front part of Saika. She's got the ballistics, that's for sure. Granted, she always puts them in the rear portion. She puts them in the bumper. I won't lie. Saika, she fights with kicks and everything like that, but I wish she had like a butt bump attack. That kind of fits with like the sort of playfulness about her, which would be like, that would be great. That just sounds fun. It would be like when Peach from like in Super Smash Bros. When she does something like that. I feel like that just sounds fun. Why can't we have fun things? Oh, that's right. Nagi has this. You know, why don't I just do that? Why don't I just go play with like absolute bullshit components? See how that does. The wedding dress is released in June. They probably have all that stuff set up for her anyways, because I think there is a Psycho wedding dress in the first place. Because I think there's only a few characters in the game who don't have a wedding dress. Because if they have a wedding dress, if they will probably get an acrylic stand in the future. Ooh, good hit. He jumped right in front of it and caught it for his friend. Killed him in the process, though. She has one in RPGX. Fantastic. Then now it'll get imported over here to AT. At least I hope it does. Ooh, that was a close one. I think she still has all her stuff equipped. Yes, she does. Go get him, Sora. Like the #1 thing that keeps me like being successful in like time of VR. She is so good there. And goddamn, this girl just exists, and we automatically win. Yeah, it is most likely going to be a June Golden Pass thing, because actually. If Saika is releasing in April, that means there will be a Golden Pass thing in May. I think they like to rotate that every other month. Who was the Golden Pass winner for June? Because I don't think it was Kiara or anything like that. Also, at least I'm pretty sure about this, that Saika's weapons that she's gonna have, they're going to be unique to her. Like she's gonna have her own unique weapons. I don't think she's gonna share with Asuka. I would like to be wrong, because that would save a lot of resources. And if I'm right, at least I have the arena points ready to go get a 5-5 for her. I'm very sure she's suppressed, yeah. So Racist Muchan was the last one, okay. Ugh. Grudge, that's the counter skill. The counter skill that absolutely sucks. Such a disappointing skill. Oh, Anne Rose. This didn't have to happen to you. I mean, we already have an inventory full of so much crap in the first place. I would like them to share more weapons. It would make things a lot easier, at least. A lot cheaper on the inventory, at least, on the inventory. Oh, that didn't crit? Come on. Yeah, either share more weapons or make the inventory bigger, or more or less infinite. It's like more or less making it infinite, like obviously, you know, it keeps the same problems of inventory bloat. That we already have so much bloat in the first place. Making it infinite does the same thing, just moves it around a lot more. But either way, it's just like, I can appreciate having new weapons, but it's also, we already have so many already. I don't know, like it's looking a gift horse in the mouth. I can already see it. I don't need to see it that way. Actually, yeah, that's good. She doesn't need to heal, which is actually a really good thing. Put this on there. See, I like that that Nagi and like Rin share weapons. I would really like that. I would really like that Asuka and Saika share weapons, since it makes everything so much easier. I mean, Asuka and Saika both fight using, well, Asuka punches and kicks. Saika specifically fights using her feet only. I mean, if you're a foot fetishist, it's like, hey, this is your gal. They finally heard your voice, and they put your foot Inari in the game. But man, it's like, I don't think she actually uses blades to fight. That's just not a thing that Saika does. And I know Winchester. Give it to me, baby. Show him how it's done. You know, all the other race queen outfits we've gotten after Ina's, they're all colorable. I was kind of annoyed that Ina's outfit isn't colorable. It's like you can't dye it or anything like that, which makes me sad. Because I like giving these outfits like new colors. It's like one of the things I look forward to when like a new outfit series comes out is if I can color it. And you can do that with Maika, you can do that with Murasaki, you can do that with Shizuru, you can do that with Maika. Why not the other? Why not Anna? Don't leave her out. She's short. It's hard to see her sometimes. Okay, I understand, but you don't need to leave her out in the cold like this. I mean, look at that. That thing barely covers up anything at all. She's gonna freeze to death. I see that drone shooter is still a little bugged. Or more or less the way that the laser collides with the hitbox doesn't register the same way. It'll register the first hit, and as long as they're standing still, and all subsequent hits will be registered. But no, it doesn't do that. Alright, that's enough for me though. We had a pretty good time with that. Thanks for coming by, everybody. That was a fun time today. We've cleaned up the entire event, farmed up some secret missions, and now I'll be able to do all that tomorrow again. Well, not so much the event farm, but do secret missions on my own time. Thanks for coming by, everybody. It was a nice time hanging out with y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.